Last night was Donald Trump's speech from the Oval Office about building a wall on the Mexican border. Now, instead of me playing Trump's speech and fact-checking it, which has already been done a million times online, I want to play each of the responses from the Democrats. So Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Schumer Pelosi, and Bernie Sanders, and compare all three and see maybe what Democrats can learn from it and how they should communicate with people moving forward. So first, here is AOC's response where she was on Rachel Maddow's show on MSNBC.
And no one should feel unsafe in the United States of America. And that includes our amazing and beautiful and productive immigrant community. And moreover, the one thing that the president has not talked about is the fact that he has systematically engaged in the violation of international human rights human rights on our border. He has separated children from their families. He talked about what happened the day after Christmas. On the day of Christmas, a child died in ICE custody. The president should not be asking for more money to an agency that has systematically violated human rights. The president should be really defending why we are funding such an agency at all. Because right now, what we are seeing is death. Right now, what we are seeing is the violation of human rights. These children and these families are being held in what are called hieleras, which are basically freezing boxes that no person should be maintained in for any amount of time, let alone the amount of time that they're being kept on. And moreover, even if you are anti-immigrant in this country, the majority of immigrant overstays, the majority of the reason that people are undocumented is visa overstay. It's not because people are crossing a border illegally. It is because of visa overstay, which, mind you, he's talking about legal immigration. He's trying to restrict every form of legal immigration there is in the United States. He's fighting against family reunification. He's fighting against the diversity visa lottery. He's fighting against almost every way that people can actually legally enter this country, forcing them to become undocumented, and then he's trying to attack their undocumented status. This is systematic, it is wrong, and it is anti-American. And again, those women and children trying to come here with nothing but the shirts on their back to create an opportunity and to provide for this nation are acting more in an American tradition than this president is right now.
All right, so this was, I guess I could just spoil it, the best response out of anybody that responded to Trump last night. Now, part of it is because she was not on a teleprompter, and I think that does lead to someone coming off more genuine, more real, because, I mean, it's their own words in that moment. But also, just on top of that, it's the emotion. So Ocasio-Cortez genuinely cares about people. She has real empathy. So when you have somebody in politics, or someone that's a politician who actually shows that they care about people, shows real emotion, it stands out. A lot of politics, for some reason, over the past 20, 30 years, politicians have been trained to take out the emotion, take the emotion out of politics. And I don't really understand why. I mean, I think the idea is that they don't want to come off like they are being, I don't know, that they are acting on an emotional level. They want to pretend like they are basing policy in what is factually correct, what is the right thing to do based on the numbers, based on data. But politicians underestimate the power of emotion, the power of showing that you actually care. So you're going to see that in a minute when I show the Schumer Pelosi response. But this is how Republicans are able to still be successful with such unpopular policies. So the Republican Party works on emotion. They work on fear. So by working on fear and working on cultural issues, they're able to get people riled up to support their agenda, an agenda that is all about supporting large corporations and the rich. But they sell people on that agenda with emotion, with fear, and with cultural issues. So this is what Democrats have to understand. You need more people like Ocasio-Cortez that not only has the right policy positions, but is able to sell those policy positions with her genuine emotion and empathy for people. So, I mean, if you have someone like Ocasio-Cortez who has that emotion, but also, I mean, looking at the policies the policies she supports are supported by the vast majority of Americans. Medicare for all, getting money out of politics, taxing the rich and multinational corporations at higher rates. These are all incredibly popular policy positions. But the Democratic Party has both not adopted these positions, but also hasn't had a real politician like Ocasio-Cortez to be able to sell them to the American people. So this is somebody that, I mean, she's going to have an amazing future in the party. And look, I don't want to jump the gun here, but we are witnessing a future president. Ocasio-Cortez will one day be the president of the United States. So understand, this is somebody that actually gives a shit. And the future of politics is going to look just like this. Now, compare that to Schumer and Pelosi, which their response was much longer. I had to cut it down because it's so damn boring, and I want you all to finish watching this video. So this is really just a clip of what you could expect from their terrible, boring, sleepy response.
Sadly, much of what we heard from President Trump throughout this senseless shutdown has been full of misinformation and even malice. The president has chosen fear. We want to start with the facts. The fact is, on the very first day of this Congress, House Democrats passed Senate Republican legislation to reopen government and fund smart, effective border security solutions.
Make no mistake, Democrats and the president both want stronger border security. However, we sharply disagree with the president about the most effective way to do it. So, how do we untangle this mess? Well, there's an obvious solution. Separate the shutdown from arguments over border security.
All right. That that was really boring. Now, look, if you're super into policy, super into politics, I'm sure you weren't bothered by that. I mean, I wasn't really bothered by that, but it's the idea that people watching this at home, people that are just, that live their own lives and maybe come home and watch an hour of MSNBC and witness that as the Democratic Party response, that doesn't energize people. It doesn't make people want to get out and do anything. Look, what Schumer and Pelosi said there throughout their entire speech, nothing was really wrong or, factually incorrect or anything. It's just that they still focus too much on border security as if, again, playing to Trump's idea of we need to protect the border. They still played into that bullshit. But also, it's just, there is no feeling there that they actually care. And I know for a lot of people, you might think that doesn't matter, whatever, as long as they have the facts right. But it does matter. If you want people to vote for your party, if you need to grow support, you need to show that you actually care. You need to work on people's emotion. That's how you get people out to vote. That's how you get non-voters. There are a lot of non-voters because policies or people like Schumer and Pelosi put them to sleep. But if you can excite people with not only a real policy message, but also actual genuine empathy and care for people, you will get people out to support you and support your message. But what Schumer and Pelosi, the leaders of the Democratic Party, did here was just put people to sleep. Now, let me show you Bernie's response, which I think was fairly good.
President Trump, you want to talk about crises? At a time of massive income and wealth inequality, tens of millions of our workers are earning starvation wages and are unable to adequately provide for their families. That's a crisis. You want to talk about a national emergency? 30 million Americans have no health insurance, and many more are underinsured. Thousands die each year because they don't go to a doctor when they should. And our life expectancy in this country is actually in decline. While the pharmaceutical industry makes tens of billions of dollars a year in profit, 1 in 5 Americans can't afford the medicine they need. Now that is a crisis we should be working on right now.
So this response, I think, was pretty good. The only, my only issue, and this is not an issue with Bernie or really anything else. My issue is just anybody that reads off a teleprompter, automatically it kind of zaps you of something unless you have a lot of practice on it. So Bernie Sanders, I think, is best off a teleprompter because he's speaking off the cuff. He has more emotion. He's able to really, I think it just comes off more real. But having the teleprompter, I understand the need for it because you want to make sure you hit all the points that you want to hit, especially if you are responding in this sort of sense to an Oval Office speech. So I understand the use of a teleprompter. I just think it kind of neuters the discussion a bit. But that said, what Bernie said here, I think was much better than what Schumer and Pelosi did. He refocused the conversation onto issues like healthcare, discussing what is actually important right now, what people are actually worried about in America. And this clip also was part of a larger response, so I didn't show the whole thing. But largely, he kept on this message. He also mentioned, though, border security, which, again, may just be a rhetorical use of it and not necessarily something he actually cares about, but it's something that you sort of need to mention in a response to Trump and the wall. Now, again, border security, I don't want to go through a whole thing on border security, but Ocasio-Cortez sort of answered that whole problem. The real issue with people, with illegal immigrants, is visa overstays. So I did a recent video covering this where a lot of people that are so-called illegal immigrants in the U.S. are Canadians that overstayed their visa. It's not people jumping over, or running across the border between Mexico and the U.S. That just doesn't really happen a whole lot. So this idea that building a wall is the way to protect the border or protect against illegal immigration is just completely absurd. It's not true. There are other better ways to deal with illegal immigration if you think that's a problem. But again, I don't think that should really be a focus right now because there are actual issues happening right now in the U.S., like people dying from a lack of access to healthcare, or the issue of money in politics affecting every other issue. So this Trump has, what he's done, he has really taken over the conversation with his stupid wall and has unfocused from real issues that people actually care about that other politicians could be speaking on if Trump hadn't hijacked the conversation and made the wall the focus of everything. But yeah, I mean, overall, AOC clearly, I think, had the best response here, but it helps that she was sort of off the cuff, not reading off a teleprompter, and really showed that she had genuine emotion and care for people. And Schumer and Pelosi, just, again, these are two people that need to slowly go away. This is clearly the last dying breath of the old Democratic Party. There needs to be a new vision of real progressive policy and genuine empathy and care for real people.